Well, hello everybody out there in the ether. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you are having a fantastic day today. This will be a short video because we are only going to be focusing on the manifesto that Luigi wrote. In case you are wondering who Luigi is, Luigi is an individual that clearly has been on the news a lot because he ended up killing a CEO for a healthcare company right there in the morning in public. He sat and waited until he was by the hotel steps outside of the hotel, and then he ambushed him, shot him with a 3D printed gun, and left. There was a manhunt that happened right after that for a couple days. And thanks to an employee at McDonald's, he was caught. The employee saw him, recognized him, called the police, and the police immediately grabbed him over in Pennsylvania. And right now, he is currently awaiting to be moved back to New York to face his charges. There has been an indictment, which we'll talk about in a separate video, and we'll talk about the reasons why that indictment was there. We'll go over and look at the press release conference that was held, and we'll talk about whether or not those charges make sense and why those charges make sense. I know a lot of people expected him to be convicted of first-degree murder or indicted or charged from first-degree murder, and as of right now, the indictment was for second degree, but it got added terrorism. And that is a way to move it up to an equivalent of first-degree murder. But before we go into all of that, I think it is important to first read the manifesto to try and understand what is going on, because as the New York state prosecutor explained, they believe this manifesto and his actions lead to terrorism. Do you think it does? Let's get right into it. This is the exclusive Luigi Manifesto. Now, I point it out because out there in the internet, there has been some fake manifestos and some incomplete manifestos. And most news outlets have refused or determined that they're not going to put it out there. The manifesto is pretty short, so this will be a short video. But it is important that we go through it to try and understand it, particularly because of the charges that were laid against them based on terrorism. And the question really is whether or not this manifesto and his actions, and so far what we know as the public, whether that rises to the level of terrorism threats and actions. Well, we shall see. So let's get right into it. This manifesto you can find in Newsweek, which so far has been the only news outlet that has published it completely in its entirety. Or you can go to the website, Ken Kleifstein, and view it there. It is easier to read in this website because there's not a lot of ads. But you can find it in these two places so far that I was able to see. There might be more news media outlets now publicizing it because of the new additional charge based on terrorism. But let's dig right into it. So this is Luigi, and this is his manifesto. All right. So this is it, and we're just gonna read it. It is very, very short. To the feds, I will keep this short because I do respect what you do for our country. To save you a lengthy investigation, I state plainly that I wasn't working with anyone. I mean, he says that, but of course, the police and the detectives will still have to investigate this to see if this is true or not. This was fairly trivial. Some elementary social engineering, basic CAD, and a lot of patience. The spiral notebook, if present, has some struggling notes and to-do lists that illuminate the gist of it. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info there. I do apologize for any strife of traumas, but it had to be done. Frankly, this parasite simply had it coming. A reminder, the US has the number one most expensive healthcare system in the world, yet we rank number 42 in life expectancy. United is the, then it says indecipherable, largest company in the US by market cap, behind only Apple, Google, and Walmart. It has grown and grown, but as our life expectancy, no. The reality is these, indecipherable, have simply gotten too powerful and they continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it. Obviously, the problem is more complex, but I do not have the space, and frankly, I do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out the full argument. But many have illuminated the corruption and greed, for example, Rosenthal and more, decades ago, and the problems simply remain. It is not an issue of awareness at this point, but clearly power games at play. Evidently, I am the first to face it with such brutal honesty. There you go. That is the manifesto of Luigi that they found in his possession. I believe they also found some other items, some that have not been released to the public, but definitely it helps understand a little bit more about what is going on in this individual's mind. No matter what reason you have or where you're from or the experience that you have experienced, gunning down a CEO because you do not agree with the company's policies or insurance policies is not the correct way to do it. It's definitely not the correct way to do it. But he has been charged now. And now the question is whether or not the grand jury will find him guilty based on second-degree murder and the additional charges laid against him because they are trying to make it more to rise to the level of first degree murder. And that is one of the first questions that is going to be asked is whether or not this actually falls under terroristic threats. Well, that is the entire video. Please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment below. Tell me what you think of this manifesto and if you think this actually helps the case for terrorism acts. We will do another video much later exploring the charges that were laid against them and looking at the public statements made by the state prosecutor's office. I will talk to all of you later. Have a wonderful day.